One last point I want to cover from the game last night. I want to get your reaction to this. The Broncos got the ball back down 3 with 6:41 to play. 1st and 10 on their own 45.
Yep.
Sack right out of the gates. Now you're back to the 35. They gained 7 yards on 7 yards on 2nd and 20. They faced a 3rd and 13. They got it to 4th and 6, just about to midfield. 4th and 6, 4:35 to play.
Yep.
How do you not go for it there?
Yeah.
Sean Payton, one of the brilliant coaches in football, and this is one of those where even without every analytics formula saying you should go for it, you should go for it, you should go for it, like this is like a pre-analytics, wait, the game's on the line, there's 4:35 left, you're going to punt to the Chargers and hope for a stop in a short field when all you have to do is convert one play, 4th and 6, and then if you don't convert it, you still have to stop the Chargers. And it blew up in their faces. Obviously, they got the Chargers to 3rd and long, but Justin Herbert turned on the Jets, and that was that. Game over as a practical matter, and then a few plays later they score the touchdown, and it's 10 points, and it's night-night. But that's one that I'm sure Sean Payton would like to have back. And I don't know how much he was grilled about it last night. I think he had a little to say about it, and Sean's very good at, saying as little as possible and waiting for the next question. But that's, if Brandon Staley had done that last year for the Chargers, he would have gotten killed for it. There's other coaches that would have gotten killed for it. Sean Payton has earned some equity over the years, but that was an uncharacteristic decision by Sean Payton to not go for it there because, hindsight, obviously, no. I mean, foresight. You're down 3 points. You get one more first down, you're in position for a field goal to tie the game.
I knew exactly where you were going when you brought up this situation because I was watching the game with my lovely wife. She's tuning me out, okay, as we're watching the game. And I'm sitting there talking back to it, talking back to the screen. And when that came up, I said, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have given up the ball in that situation. And she's rolling her eyes or whatever, doing something else as I'm watching the game. But really, you mentioned earlier that a 55-yard field goal is really not a big deal, 55, 57 in 2024, nor is going for it in that situation where you've got pretty good field position. You got 3 yards. You got to pick up 3 or 4 yards. And I saw when the Chargers celebrated the stop, the players are, putting their arms up. I'm like, don't celebrate yet. You probably have one more play to defend. I was really surprised that they weren't more aggressive in that situation. Because I thought, and I was wrong on this, I thought, okay, you may not see the ball again. Yeah, the Chargers just may grind this thing down. Fortunately for the Broncos, fortunately/unfortunately, the Chargers had a quick score on the Haskins touchdown where they were able to get the ball back, kick a 55-yarder, and then put themselves in position for an onside kick. But I thought that was I was a little puzzled by that. I don't know why they did it. I don't know why Sean Payton went in that direction.
When he was asked about it after the game, he said the timeouts, all the percentages, field position, we just didn't get them stopped. Which, the percentages, again, the analytics strongly recommend in that situation going for it. And this is a pre-analytics era reality. This is something that before all these different percentages were used to drive decisions because after 10,000 iterations, we've determined that based upon a sliver of a percentage, it's better to go for it than not go for it in all circumstances, which is just kind of a ludicrous mindset to adopt as something that will be the deciding factor. It's a factor. It's not the deciding factor. In this case, it's not just a factor. It seems like a no-brainer to go for it. In today's NFL, 6 yards to extend a drive that potentially gives you a tie, or with 4:35 to play, and you put the brakes on a little bit as you're creeping closer and closer to the end zone, you got the field goal attempt, bird in the hand. You may get the 2-in-the-bush touchdown that wins the game and leave the Chargers with not enough time to answer, and you go up 4 points. So they'd have to score a touchdown to beat you. They can't force overtime if you make your extra point. So, yeah, Sean Payton's done some great things, but that was not a great example last night. And maybe it's just emblematic of how they slipped into neutral once they went up 21-10. And once it felt like the walls were about to close in. And that's where teams have to have the killer instinct. You can't just say, hey, we got this. You have to keep taking it. Because if you give them an opening to come back, they're going to take it, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah, and he was aggressive. I thought, tell me how you felt about this. When he said field, you could read his lips. He said field goal. What was that? 102 left, 103 left, something like that. I said, oh, wow. Well, that's a little early. 55-yard, but it was a 55-yarder. Lutz comes out. He's expected to make a 55-yarder, no big deal. He makes it, and now you're going for an onside kick, which is a low percentage play anyway. I thought he might go one more play, try to make it a 50-yarder, but I guess he's thinking, hey, we don't have that much time, so let me get it right now. So I think it was aggressive on calling for the field goal when he did, but kind of conservative in that situation on fourth down when they're trailing. You got to go for it. You got to go for it in that situation.
And a masterful job of clock management by the Chargers once they recovered the onside kick, and there was still time. Yeah. The Broncos had 2 timeouts, running the play where it's the quarterback keeper where he just backs away, takes as much time off the clock as he could. Broncos didn't get to him. Like, more ticks came off the clock, setting up that last play moonshot out of bounds 4 seconds. It's a thing of beauty when it happens. They just worked it down. And we've seen so many examples, Michael, of bad clock management this year. To see it work to perfection. When it works to perfection, it's boring. But they did it, and they ensured that there wasn't going to be a punt. There wasn't going to be an opportunity for the Broncos to pull off a Hail Mary. They knew exactly how to take those remaining seconds and get it in position that the Broncos aren't going to see the ball again after the Chargers recovered the onside kick. And again, we don't appreciate normal when normal happens, but abnormal happens often enough that we should appreciate normal when we see it.
Yeah, and I'll say, by the way, Al Michaels loves those situations. He loves like the final. If you listen to Al, in the last 2 to 3 minutes, Al has figured out, okay, this is what should happen. This is how many throws they'll be able to come up with. And I think it may have something to do with, and I'm not judging him, it may have something to do with, let me say it diplomatically, his love for the action. I think Al Michaels loves the action. Because you catch it last night, Mike? He made a reference. He made a reference to the Chargers-Niners Super Bowl and that the Chargers covered. I'm like, how do you know this? 30 years later, you're bringing up that the Chargers got blown out, but they covered. In 1994, that's top of mind. That is A-plus work. Al Michaels, I don't hate you for it. Don't hate you at all.
He always has had the ability to make those subtle references to the cover, to the over. This might matter to some of you. And it was great back in the days when the NFL shunned gambling. Now that the NFL has jumped in bed with any and every sports book that will pay the requisite fee, it's not like it used to be. And he acknowledged that last night. He can't be as open then as he is now. But back then, it was just kind of this impish little inside joke. Yeah. He probably got in trouble, and he didn't care because when you're Al Michaels, you can get away with those kinds of things from time to time. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.